Good morning, Jill. Good to see you again and everyone tuning in. Thanks to Brand Innovators for having us. I know Jill and I are thrilled to be here, adding to the insightful conversations that have already been going on since yesterday. We had a great prep call together. We're going to cover a variety of hot topics, everything from the explosion of buy now, pay later to some broader topics like digital disruption and the evolution of FinServe over the last couple of years, which has obviously been affected by the pandemic and required all of us as marketers to rethink how we approach and go to market. So a lot to cover. Jill, we'll just do some quick intros and then get into it. That works?
Sounds perfect.
Perfect. So Sophie Hall here, Director of Financial Services and Travel Categories at Vox. Hopefully most of you tuning in are familiar with Vox, but if not, we are home to 13 digital brands, including Vox.com, The Verge, Eater, New York Mag, Vulture, The Cut. You may have seen the news, but we're really excited about our pending merger with Group 9 Media. They bring a suite of brands that's very complementary to us in many ways, especially in the areas of video and social media. So we're really excited to join forces. Very talented folks over there. And we look to continue to be a leader in modern media. But enough about Vox. You're all here to obviously hear from Jill. We have this amazing guest lined up. Fantastic career, so distinguished, a Chicago native who now resides in one of my favorite Westchester towns, Rye, New York. Jill is the VP of PayPal Brand and Venmo Marketing. She brings more than 25 years of experience to this position. She also appeared on Forbes' list of the world's 50 most influential CMOs and Business Insider's 25 most innovative, CMOs. So I know I'm personally inspired. We couldn't have found a more knowledgeable expert in the category. I shared a mouthful, but Jill, would love for you to tell us about your role functionally day-to-day as VP of PayPal Brands and Venmo Marketing. Quick note, we'll take questions at the end, so please feel audience, drop them into the Q&A widget. But Jill, over to you.
Thanks, Sophie. I'm so pleased to be here with you today and to talk about how some of that experience that you referenced is shaping how we're thinking about the year ahead. So I look after all of our PayPal brands across the PayPal holding company. The two big direct-to-consumer brands there are PayPal and Venmo, and also looking at what this means for brands that we've acquired like Honey and Zettle. So it's a really exciting transformational role. I look after the basics of branding, like what is that architecture, how do the brands look, how do they feel, what is the experience, and doing some fun work on thinking about how these brands show up in the world in a really powerful but differentiated way. So watch this space. We're really excited about the work that we're doing on the PayPal and Venmo brands. And then I also look after Venmo marketing from an end-to-end experience and have the privilege of working with some of the most innovative, brave, and bold marketers who do our Venmo marketing to consumers and expand how Venmo is serving audiences, including small businesses who are joining the platform to create business profiles to connect with our audience of more than 80 million users, and also activating Venmo to facilitate commerce through partnerships like Amazon and Starbucks. So really working across consumer strategies, B2B strategies, and partnerships to make Venmo an even more relevant brand and building on its core capabilities of facilitating payments that we all love and being able to pay people back in a way that it has taken the awkward nature out of asking someone for money through Venmo, but to really take that experience and bring it to life in commerce situations as well. So we like to think about our apps as apps that power peer-to-peer payments and commerce. So
Great.
that's
Well,
some specifics about the teams that I lead at PayPal. And PayPal is a global brand, so we have relationships with over 400 million consumers around the world. And so, understanding what's on the hearts and minds of those consumers and thinking about trends, and that informs lots of the work that we do on some of our new product solutions that we can talk about as well.
great. Thank you. That is a big role you have over there. Thank you for sharing and sharing a little bit more about your roles and responsibilities. As you shared already, and we touched on, you spent a number of years at MasterCard overseeing global consumer strategy, and now you're at PayPal in this massive role. As more traditional payment networks compete for share of wallet, which we're seeing all over, what excites you about the evolution of your business into areas such as buy now, pay later that will continue to keep PayPal and Venmo ahead of the competition, especially into 2022?
Yeah, one of the great things about doing this work at PayPal is that I get to collaborate with some of the folks that I worked so closely with at MasterCard. PayPal very much is a platform that believes in the power of choice, and we work with the networks, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover, as well as with banks around the world. And one of the things that has really been core to how we've been able to grow and drive user loyalty is the choice that they have. So consumers can load their PayPal app through connecting that to MasterCard products, Visa products, American Express, connecting directly with the banks. So we collaborate closely. And I think the thing that is appealing to the providers of these services, you mentioned buy now, pay later, installments, is connecting consumers to commerce. And the role that we have to activate our two-sided networks and to really lean into our roots to understand what are those jobs that consumers are looking to be done. And the launch of buy now, pay later, or pay in four, as we call it at PayPal, for easy equal installments, really gets to our mission to democratize financial services, to make money easier, to make it more accessible. And I think we have seen a lot of growth in this category overall, specific to installments, because of the transparency that it provides to the consumer. They can really think about a specific purchase and how they're going to parcel that out over those installments. In our case, it's pay in four. And it really has allowed them financial flexibility. So I think, you see a lot of focus on this particular solution because it's doing a really powerful job for consumers, not only in the US, but around the world, in making commerce just better, easier. And in our case, we always focus on how secure it is. And it really is a global opportunity. We have launched Pay in four in the US, in the UK, Italy, Spain, Australia. And so this demand for flexibility, for transparency, clarity on the fees associated with it, I think makes it a really appealing way to start to build meaningful relationships with consumers. And for PayPal, what I think differentiates us is that it is a core part of our app. So our kind of new PayPal app, which provides an all-in-one place for consumer to make their financial lives a bit easier.
Yeah, we'll definitely dive into the PayPal app and more. I know that was an exciting launch, especially this year. But staying on topic of and digging a little bit more into this pay in four and buy now, pay later space. And I know you touch on consumer choice as a unique value prop to your consumers and your audience, but obviously, and as you were just saying, PayPal is already one of the top 3 players globally in the space. Since launch, I believe your CEO quoted the company processing over 5.4 billion in total payment volume. So that's a significant number, 5.4 billion. I'm sure you have even more aggressive goals for 2022. And obviously, it's a hot environment, as you just talked about and confirmed, surge of new players in the space. How important of a role will pay in four and buy now, pay later in general continue to play in your 2022 growth strategy?
You will see a lot of focus on pay in 4. It is something that our consumers are really using often. We have over 9.5 million consumers who have represented that volume that you talked about. So 9.5 million
Wow.
consumers who have done over 33 million transactions. One of the really exciting things is that we see over 50% of those who have tried our buy now, pay later, pay in 4 solution are coming back to it. So again, I think it gets back to some of those things that we talked about, which is transparency, security, and the flexibility. So as we look at the role of these types of solutions for consumers, it really gets at our passion for understanding what are the jobs that we do for consumers. And so thinking about moments in time, last summer, as we were launching this installment solution in markets around the world, we did some research with Gen Z to get a sense of what was on their minds and how they were thinking about using a solution like pay in 4. And I guess, everything that's old is new again. Last summer, it was all about getting back into the world. And 60% of those Gen Z consumers that we talked to were most excited about getting back out. So I think we're all kind of revisiting that in the spirit of, these sentiments in the new normal and everything that we're looking forward to. So in that particular moment, we focused on what were the moments, what was going to happen when people got back into in-person environments. And some of the things that these users that we talked to wanted to do were celebrate birthdays with friends and family in person environments.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to travel and not just get back out into the world, but to travel again with friends and families. And no surprise, they wanted to go on dates. I think one of the big trends that we'll talk about as we go into 2022 is the fact that humans around the world are craving connection and intimacy. And so we got into the why behind, what a product like this would power for consumers. But then there were also real challenges that our users were facing as it related to their financial flexibility. So we understood that 40+% of consumers had delayed purchases during COVID due to sensitivity about financial stability, and over 58% had seen a decrease in income. And so understanding the head and heart element of what they wanted to do, but some of the relationships that they were having with their own financial constraints was kind of at the heart of how we thought about, marketing this program and how we think about dusting off those insights and refreshing those with our audiences around the world so that we can continue to provide that flexibility and offer pay in 4 for consumers who have delayed purchases, who have prioritized those experiences or purchases that really represent how they want to experience this kind of new phase of normal that we continue to enter into.
Great. Yeah, we can definitely all relate to craving that human interaction and connection. I know, we haven't reopened our office, so I definitely hear you there. I wrote, you said what's old is new again, which is a great transition into shifting topics for a moment, and certainly on the topic of QR codes, which made a massive comeback this year and revolutionary for small business owners. But I want to shift topics into related to BNPL, of course, and paying forward to the digital wallet and a space PayPal has obviously exploded and been a focus for this year. I'm a big Reese Witherspoon fan. We do work with her production company. I don't know if you know it, Vox. And she tweeted something last night very relevant to kind of the explosion of digital wallet and on topic. So I'm just going to quote this for a minute. In the near future, every person will have a parallel digital identity. Avatars, crypto wallets, digital goods will be the norm. Are you planning for this? End quote. So it's very much here, culturally relevant in all conversations. And PayPal has had an exciting year, not only on your product, but also feature launches, which Unfortunately for my own digital wallet, you've made the shopping experience entirely too easy. But your team has announced, you've had a ton of announcements this year, the Venmo Amazon collaboration, new PayPal app, which you touched on earlier and features savings, all types of new tools and new services and rewards, bill pay, et cetera. Common theme and thread obviously all points to this rise of the digital wallet. With the number of people using digital wallets expected to double globally by 2025, how will PayPal and your team continue to not only innovate, but also keep up with this growth and continuing acquiring new, but also maintaining that, competitive existing customer base that you all have?
I love that question. There is so much ambitious work that's taking place on the PayPal and Venmo digital wallets. But first of all, I am also a big Reese fan, and I did a little bit of a digital detox this morning, or I would have seen that. So that was a new one, but I am a big follower and fan of Reese. So thank you for putting some contextual context around this conversation around the role of wallets and apps to bring those wallets to life. So from a consumer trend standpoint, there was a point of convergence where I think consumers were putting bets and using commerce in fragmented ways. And while I think that will continue, there is a trend to simplification and trying to organize their financial lives all in one place. And that really is the role of these digital wallets and digital apps. So PayPal has had an app for a long time. The app was largely oriented around two of our biggest use cases, which was, facilitating paying others back through peer-to-peer payments like we do on Venmo, and facilitating commerce and checkout. So as part of looking at what are those jobs that could be done, understanding our users deeply, we are working to build out our wallet in line with our mission to democratize financial services, to make money less hard, to make it less challenging, to make it easier, and to make it more equitable for everyone who needs to have a financial relationship. And so we've been working across a really aggressive roadmap to make that wallet work even harder and put more solutions in one place. So you mentioned QR code. We had a big push to add QR code to our PayPal digital wallet or the app. That was really important and something that we accelerated during COVID as both our merchants, you mentioned small businesses, as well as consumers were wanting to conduct commerce in the in-store physical space, but wanted to do that in a safe and secure way. So we worked across the PayPal enterprise from marketing, engineering, product, to accelerate our work to integrate QR into both our PayPal and Venmo apps. So you could use that app that you relied on that represents security in those in-store environments. And it was really fun to bring that one to life and to drive an education campaign on how you can use the app in store in a new way. We've also launched crypto, and that's been an exciting space to enter. There's lots of crypto curious users out there, and they have enjoyed the opportunity to understand and learn more about crypto through the solutions that we offer on both PayPal and Venmo. And as we bring all of this together, we're able to look at consumers and understand what would be interesting to them. So one of the things that we did that was really innovative last year, I thought, was we had launched a loyalty card for our Venmo user base. And we had an audience of users who wanted to try crypto, but didn't want to invest significant dollars. So we actually introduced an innovation where you could turn your rewards points, your rewards currency, into crypto so that you could start to experience the world of crypto and understand how to buy, hold, and sell. So continuing to bring all of that functionality into a one-place experience is a big part of what we're doing across PayPal and Venmo. And one of the things that is really exciting is we know that what consumers want is to save money, to have deals and offers. And so we've also worked on the integration of what Honey, I don't know if you're aware of Honey, but a deals and offer platform, and integrating that. So that was a real major milestone in the integration of our shopping solutions, that is, into our PayPal wallet. So we're really creating a destination. And as we create that, we're working to ensure that we use data, insights, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to personalize that. Because as the app can do more things for you, we want to ensure that we're doing that in a way that's relevant to you as a user, as opposed to providing kind of a solution that is not customized. So really exciting about, the opportunity to leverage data, artificial intelligence and machine learning to make it work powerfully for those who use the app. So, we've positioned the campaign around, more ways to PayPal, driving education around getting to know PayPal in new ways, and looking to do similar things for Venmo. We've recently announced the launch of a savings product. So not saving on shopping, but actually saving money. And so we're partnering with Synchrony Financial on that, so we can provide competitive interest rates. We offer direct deposit, bill payment. So what you start to see is, again, a destination for financial services, commerce, and all of your financial needs in one place. And it's been a big focus across the enterprise.
Great. Well, you're certainly staying busy over there and a lot going on, but I want to dig deeper into the topic and overall what you're discussing in terms of digital transformation that consumers are experiencing, and this wide adoption that you're seeing of new digital currencies, like you mentioned, and that we're talking about crypto, to also the ability to shop in context, such as through social media. And I said, as I mentioned, entirely too seamlessly. But and also kind of double click on what you guys were able to do this year socially, which was incredibly impactful and so meaningful. How you were able to, we talked a lot in our prep call about how you were able to activate the Venmo community around really meaningful causes this year. So, PayPal and Venmo, you've already started, as we touched on, allowing us to buy crypto on your platform and in person with QR codes, which is only accelerating this digital transformation taking place around finance so quickly and broadly speaking. How do you envision PayPal and Venmo showing up and continuing to keep that authenticity and continue that in a way that really resonates with consumers and users and your existing subscriber base throughout 2022?
That's such a great question. And so to get at that, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and put on my brand hat. The brands that we have are our most important assets. And PayPal is one of the most trusted brands in the category and one of the most trusted brands in the world. In fact, Morning Consult has recently ranked PayPal as the #2 most trusted brand in the world. And a lot of that drives from what we provide in the way of innovation, flexibility, reliability. We've also had a big achievement last year with Interbrand and being ranked number 42 on their best global brands. And that was a significant accomplishment for us. We jumped into the top 50 and we were in some good company in the top 5 fastest growing brands, including Salesforce and Tesla. And so that really talks about the commitment that we have to our brand foundations and continuing to lean into the trusted role that we have with consumers and working to provide, reliable solutions for them. So ensuring that we continue to invest in the foundations of our brands, PayPal and Venmo, will be really core to the work that we do in 2022. The other thing that is going to be a continued focus for us is understanding our users, continuing to ensure that we have a deep human understanding of the users who rely on our platforms. And you mentioned the work that we did in social this year, which was really exciting. Venmo is an inherently social experience. One of the things that has caused a lot of virality is the social network element of the Venmo platform. And, we know that our users really like the opportunity to share. We also know that users who, especially younger users who see that another user on the platform has used Venmo for commerce or for, a new way to pay someone back, it inspires them to think about how they can use the platform. So as we entered 2021, we wanted to continue to build community for Venmo. And because our app was the primary social experience, we hadn't focused as much on building our social footprint. So we went into 2021 with a big ambition to build out social with great success. And I'm representing the work of a small but mighty team of brand and social marketers at Venmo who made this happen. But we went into the year with 97,000 followers, and we closed 2021 with over 2 million followers. We started the year generating just over, 1 million impressions to generating 20 million impressions. And so we did that by focusing on understanding the user and how we could meet them where they were across platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and doing some really fun work on YouTube. And so we did that through a couple areas of focus. There were starting to understand, like, what are those big moments that we could own from an always on standpoint. And so we started to activate hashtags like Venmo me or Venmo it forward, which we had launched during COVID, recognizing that there was so much goodness that was playing out on the platform, where Venmo users quickly pivoted when we first started experiencing the reality of COVID, from using pizza and beer emojis to using those emojis that represented medical workers or first responders, and using the platform to pay it forward. And so we jumped into that conversation with Venmo it forward, and people who were paying it forward on the platform, we started to surprise and delight them. So we created efforts like that to meet our community in ways that they were leveraging the platform and really activating that on social. We then started to focus on big seasonal moments. And so things that are important for Venmo users are like back to school for college students. And so we did a fun activation with Jack Harlow. You guys may know Jack, huge following, hugely passionate audience and relevant for that college audience. And so we did an activation where he would actually Venmo our audience through a Venmo you activation. So that was a big focus. And you mentioned doing good. We were really excited to do a holiday activation, which was a hashtag Dear Venmo campaign. And we worked with sister influencers, Chloe and Haley. And we were able to provide some surprise and delight moments for our community, but also inspire goodness, in that everyone who participated in that activation contributed to a donation that we made to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, up to $500,000. So through lots of participation and engagement, we were able to reward Venmo users, but we were also able to do good by making this donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and doing some good at the end of the year with those who were waiting for wishes to be granted. So we were really excited about that. And then there's how we activate Venmo on a daily basis. So one of the things that happens to pop up organically on the platform is Taco Tuesday. So we created content that you'll see kind of regularly across our Venmo social channels, where we'll jump into conversations around Taco Tuesday, creating polls and just little moments of surprise and delight. And then we have our regular one-to-one user activations, where we see someone who is doing something great on Venmo or is a super fan. We leverage social to surprise and delight those users. And so, I think a couple things that jump out there is just sort of clarity of how we wanted to build the experience for Venmo across those social platforms. The work that we did around holiday was activated through the reach of Chloe and Hallie, and doing that on TikTok. So anyway, continuing to innovate, huge discipline there around, testing and learning and understanding what's going to resonate with our audiences. So those are a couple of examples. So it's really about, understanding our brand, kind of who we are and why we exist. And again, as I said, we're doing some fun work on evolving both of our brands. So you'll see some work come to play out this year on that, and really ensuring that the way that we bring our brands to life is grounded in that trust that we talked about, but also our vision and mission to democratize financial services and bringing that to life a bit more. And then, doubling down on deep human understanding our audience across both platforms and connecting where they are, like some of those examples that I shared in social, but huge momentum there. That was a big accomplishment for Venmo.
Yeah, it was incredible to work. I'm sure I share with many of our listeners tuning in that it was inspirational, not only as a marketer, but just in general, social doing good. And it was incredible to follow your work, especially with the Dear Venmo and Venmo It Forward. So it was, look forward to seeing the momentum that you carry into 2022. And you guys have had incredible social growth across the board. So congratulations on all your success there. We have a couple questions, and if anyone wants to add any questions in the Q&A widget, feel free to. But one last question. We've covered so much. We only have a few minutes left, but I do just want to touch on what you're excited about for 2022 and continuing on this theme of consumer behavior, consumer engagement, there's so many trends that we pulled from this conversation, and the level of trust that PayPal and Venmo have been able to build, which is incredible. It not only, speaks volumes to who you are as a brand, but how you've been able to activate and engage with the consumers and continue to acquire new customers as well. So what are you most excited about this year?
Yeah, so again, it's continuing on that journey of understanding our users, consumers, small businesses, the large enterprises that we serve through the lens of this digital future that we are all entering. And so, we've seen explosive growth in digital commerce as we enter this next phase of coming into a new normal. We expect digital commerce to inform how we shop in physical environments as well. So lots of focus on that through facilitating deals, offers, value, rewards for consumers to continue to drive preference, enabling that kind of all-in-one solution. Things that we've talked about, crypto and digital financial solutions like Pay Later. I think we're going to see a lot of focus on that. From a human trend standpoint, I go back to what I shared earlier, which is, how can we as a brand be there to create connection and community for our audiences? And I think some of the examples that we just referenced, so connecting with our Venmo audience on the opportunity to, make a difference with Make-A-Wish, rallying around big cultural moments. Venmo is very much an organic part of how consumers experience music. So we're thinking about things like how we show up on passion points. On the PayPal standpoint or PayPal point of view, we are starting to activate sponsorships in new and innovative ways. We had a sponsorship with the Phoenix Suns, which was super exciting to be able to rally community and the fans of the Suns as they had a run to the playoffs last year. And we've just done a multi-year deal with the San Jose Earthquakes, which is a community-based sponsorship. So really starting to think about how we can foster that community and bring our audiences together, and make our brands more human.
Speaking of making brands more human, we did have a question that I'm sure many marketers are interested in hearing, and it's not an easy task, but can you explain, and maybe we only have a couple of minutes left, what you attribute to becoming, how you were able to become such a trusted brand in such an obvious space that is, can be very difficult to win that trust over, especially with social payments.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the consistency in our commitment to being the most secure way to pay online, advocating for the rights of those who use our platform relentlessly. It is so core to who PayPal is and who Venmo is as well as a brand. And so I think it's that commitment, the consistency, not wavering, doing the right thing for our users. And it also extends into how we think about taking social stands. And so, we continue to build our trust through how we show up in our communities and to our stakeholders when the very important topic of racial inclusion was something that was happening across the US. We committed close to $500 million to invest in Black and minority owned businesses. And so it's really ensuring that it's not just the security of that transaction, so that when you choose PayPal to check out, and I choose it in ways that are way too easy as well, Sophie, it's just really makes commerce easy.
Good
but
to know.
sort of the commitment that we make to ensuring those transactions are secure are so important, because our relationship with our money is so near and dear. But then showing up in a way that brings our social commitments to bear continues to build that trust. So I think it's, clarity of what that means, consistency of how we deliver it, and bringing it to life in ways that matter to the communities that we represent as well.